we're going to look at the story, The Snail and the Whale. Now on the back there's a little blurb, and I hope you might be able to listen out for some of the rhyming words. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed she sniffed and sighed, the sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. Did you hear those rhyming words? We had rock and dock, side and wide, and sail and snail. Hopefully you'll hear some more throughout the story of the snail and the whale. Look at these beautiful pictures. This is a tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot. And this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed she sniffed and sighed, the sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. There she is on the rock. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sighed and sniffed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a lift." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Lift wanted around the world." I wonder who's going to respond to this message. Look who's here on this page. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlight sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." Wow, looks like they're going on an exciting adventure. This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to the towering icebergs and far off lands, with fiery mountains, there's one there, and golden sands. They're visiting lots of beautiful different places. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed. The tiny snail on the tail of the whale. He's holding on so tight. These are the caves beneath the waves, where stripy fish and feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam round the whale and the snail on his tail. I hope he can make it past those sharks safely. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny, blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of a whale. Oh wow, look who they're seeing now on their adventure. And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, I feel so small. Oh, wow. This looks fun. But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. Oh no, are all these people having fun? They don't realise what they're doing to the whale. This is the tide slipping away. No, can you see what's happened to the whale? He's got stuck on the shore. Oh dear. He's not in very much water anymore. And this is the whale lying beached in the bay. Quick, off the sand, back to sea, cried the snail. I can't move on land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then, I've got it, she cried and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. Off the snail goes. Hope she can get some help. See what happens next. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, a snail! The teacher turns pale. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. Oh wow. These are the children running from school, fetching the fireman, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. Oh, they're doing a good job there to help. This is the tide coming into the bay. The water's starting to come back in now. And these are the villagers shouting, hooray! As the whale and the snail travel safely away. Back to the dock, and the flock on the rock, there they are, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of the shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after her snail after snail. And you see all the other snails have climbed onto the whale's tail. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpbacked whale. A beautiful sky. end of our story. I hope you enjoyed that one. Maybe you would like to have a think now about where you would take the snail if you were going to take him on an adventure. Where would you go? Maybe you'd like to write it down. Maybe you'd like to draw it. I would really like to see where you would take the snail on an adventure. I hope you enjoyed that story, and I'll see you soon.